Hello and thanks for joining us again on Power Wheel, our weekly enlightenment program on Nigeria's power sector, particularly the efforts at expanding the transmission grid for improved electricity supply in the country. I am Sheung Olagunju. You're welcome. TCN's MD CEO, Mr. Usman Guru Muhammad, has requested for land titles to all plots of land allocated to TCN, as well as the intervention of the Federal Capital Territory Minister on issues of illegal excavation and encroachment on land allocated to TCN for electricity projects in the FCT. Mr. Mohammed made these requests during a courtesy visit by the management of TCN on the FCT Minister, Mohammed Musa Bello.
The land at Lugbe that is given to us to put a substation, actually, NIPP has already constructed a transmission line for this one. What we need to do is to put the substation. But the land at substation in Lugbe is occupied by illegal squatters. There are some people that have built even, I think, a shopping mall in that place. So those shopping malls need to be removed for us to be able to, and we are going to advertise the work now. So we need those shopping malls to be removed. There's one place in Kuje where we were initially given. We did the environmental and social assessment and determined the compensation to be paid to the people. But just in January, we were asked to move to another place. But this new place that they asked us to move, there's no corridor. If we are to move that to that place, there's no corridor enough for us to build the transmission line.
The MD informed the minister that electricity is currently being transmitted into the FCT through Kainji and Gwagwalada, and that plans are underway to further feed Abuja through a third electricity supply corridor to increase as well as improve flexibility of power supply to Abuja.
So we are talking about 5 substations. We are going to build 2 by 150 MVA at New Apo, another 2 by 150 MVA at West Main Lugbe. So that will make Abuja to have 3 330 kVA substations. We are also going to build another 3 132 substations. So we'll have one in Kuje, one in Gwarimba, and one in Mumba, Lokogoma. The selection of both sites was carried out through a feasibility study that was done in 2011 as part of the TCN objective of expanding the transmission network to 10,000 megawatts.
The FCT Minister, Mohammed Musa Bello, promised to assist TCN in securing all land allocated to it through the provision of all the tithes and other necessary documents to forestall encroachment and aid redress where trespass already exists. He expressed concern over the state of electricity supply to the FCT.
Power is a critical social infrastructure that every government has to support. Issue of titles to all your sites is something we have been doing to a number of organizations now, because we realize having the right title allows you to plan, and more importantly gives you opportunity to secure your sites so that you can prevent encroachment, which has been a challenge not only to you but to so many federal institutions in Abuja. So I'm very happy with the investments that you plan to do, and I assure you that we will, within the very shortest possible time, solve all these land-related issues regarding your sites.
He expressed appreciation for the quantum of projects planned for execution by TCN in the FCT, which he says will go a long way in improving the current inadequate state of electricity supply to the FCT.
For us, really we need more power in Abuja, not just to make the city look beautiful, but even for the security of the city. And really I'm sure when you go around the city at night, the infrastructure is there. I mean, we have put in street lights in most of the major streets.
We had an incisive interview with the head of TCN's Independent System Operators, Engineer Musa Gumel. We now bring you the concluding part of that interview.
load detection is highly technical. Like I said earlier, we look at the grid as a whole because we don't isolate a disco, we don't isolate a generator. Everything, all generation is put on grid and is pushed down to the discos. Now, if you see frequency going beyond 50, it simply means we are generating more than what is being connected. So the frequency tends to go up. If it goes up, it has some effect on the generator itself, on your own equipment and all that. So it has gone down. It's not like a punitive measure as such. The grid controller is trying to maintain supply at all times for 24 hours. And these parameters must be looked into at every point in time, then to fall within the statutory limits for defined in the grid code for you to have a qualitative power supply. Remittance shortfalls very clearly because we are receiving our earning about 30% of our earning. What we earn here in transmission is what we call the service delivery. So we do that service because we only import the power and drop it. We now do the billing on the market operation and then we owe that. But we are not owners of the generators. We are not owners of the disco. So here we earn the service charge. So this service charge is only coming 30%. The implication is that we are not going to maintain our infrastructure at all times, as at when due. Like transmission, we have a lot of transmission network, the lines, the transformers, the capacitors, the breakers and all that. If the money doesn't come fully into our coffers, then there's a problem. Maintenance will equally be delayed, and if we delay maintenance, then availability of equipment will not be there as well. The level was quite good, 65, 70, quite good. You know, it's really surprising. Having gone private, we are now recording a lot of shortfalls. So to us, maybe at least superficially, we say the government time or regime is better than what we obtain now. Though this could be a teething problem, we just privatized about 3 years ago, and we're learning a lot of things in between. But really, collection is a problem as it is as we speak now. Rural electrification is not under the purview of transmission to TCN, transmission company of Nigeria, really. But as it is, rural electrification resides in the disco. What's happening is we have an interface. If we transmit in 330 kV voltage, we step down to 132, then we step down to 33. The moment we step down to 33, the feeders that are dead into the towns, cities, whatever, is under the control of the disco. And these are the feeders that also extend to the rural areas. So we don't have control over that. What we do is, at the interface, we make sure we give them what they deserve based on that load allocation. To a layman, or even to me, let's assume my role just as a customer, all I need is I switch on the something, the supplies come. That's my own. But of course, if we now dig into, basically there are three sectors or subsectors of the industry. We have the upstream, downstream, and midstream. We have the generation, we have the transmission, and we have the distribution. Now, transmission is at the center, at the midstream, that basically it evacuates power from generation points to the load centers. This is our role as a transmission company. Now the discourse role is from the interface of the transmission, they make sure they deliver power to the points of the customers. Big customers, small customers, whatever. Now generation, of course, as the name implies, is simply to generate the power out of whatever, then it will be evacuated. So the responsibilities, one is to generate first, transmission to evacuate, then it will give the distribution. So basically we have these three factors, and everybody has to play their own role.
You're watching Power Wheel. This is an initiative of TCN showcasing the activities of stakeholders in the power sector, all aimed at achieving the government's mandate of improved power supply. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, SAN, has asked stakeholders in the power sector to look forward to the implementation of policies that would improve gas supply and liquidity, as well as the completion of several power projects by the federal government in 2017. Mr. Fashola, who said this, our special guest at the next Power Dialogue in Abuja, said the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, along with other agencies of the federal government, like the Ministry of Finance, as well as the World Bank, had put together a policy framework that would help establish stronger and better institutional framework needed to tackle the challenges in the power sector.
According to the minister, such policies will help realize a deepening of metering, sanction for energy theft, and better contract performance from operators in the power sectors, as well as help achieve the financial strengthening of the embed. He attributed power supply shortage and outages across the country to the activities of vandals who sabotage gas pipeline.
Let us get every extra power that we can get. Let's start getting as much as we can get. So we said, first step, incremental power, anywhere, so long as it's legitimate, it is safe, it is environmentally compliant, friendly and compliant, we will put it on. So just imagine that you buy a brand new car, you want to travel, and you load the car with fuel, and your cousin or your brother is angry and just puts a nail or goes to cut the pipeline. Can you go anywhere? So that's what we're dealing with. Some of our brothers are angry, and I continue to tell them that anger is not a strategy. And I know that they will not be angry forever. But while they are angry, they are punishing us, they are punishing themselves.
The minister said privatization contracts in the power sector would not be cancelled, as this will send negative signals to foreign investors that Nigeria had no respect for agreement. He expressed optimism on improved power supply based on the stages of completion of various power projects.
Our grid is growing every day, because you hear us announcing that we are doing one transmission station, you see me going, that's the grid evolving. Today, at its most frugal, it will support 6,500 megawatts. Pushed to its limit, it will carry 7,002 today. So it's not true when you hear how the grid is only 5,000 in line. It's growing every day, and more projects are coming on. We've completed some, more are coming on. Notionally, if we have that 3 back from the 4,000, we're already at 7. But we don't have it because some of our family members are angry. Now, in the last 1 week, there have been debts accumulated from February 2015 in the system. Every day there's a debt, there's a liability every day. At the close of today, you close the accounts. How much was sold? How much was pushed out, how much will be paid for. So that has been accumulating since 2015. Now, I think push was getting to show. Gas companies started locking their taps, and so on and so forth. So, again, the power came down to about 2,000. And then, once it comes below 3,000, the grid begins to react.
On rural electrification, Fashola revealed that the existing contract for 2,000 constituency electricity projects under the Rural Electrification Agency would soon be completed, and decried the mounting debt or non-payment of electricity bills by consumers.
As a country in total, or even as individual energy users, if you are able to ascertain the total amount of waste and the total amount of energy that we generate using diesel as it is right now, it doesn't take more than 4 or 5 years for us to eventually, come up. So the major challenge that we experience in this industry is lack of consumer financing. So that people who are using small scale, households, to reduce that load from the total energy demand, I think, the efforts you're making will be much more fair in the industry.
The Nigerian Electricity Hub, a subsidiary of Nexia Power, an advisory, investment and services firm, is the electricity industry organizing the monthly power dialogues to x-ray the sector.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, remains committed to having a world-class workforce to achieve its mandate of efficient wheeling of power. To this end, the management embarked on change management sensitization tours across the company's regions. In Lagos, TCN's Executive Director of Finance and Accounts, Mr. Sonny Roche, said the objective of the change management strategy adopted by the organization is to enable both the management and staff of TCN to appreciate and imbibe the ongoing reforms in the power sector. Efforts at improving power supply received a boost when the management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, took delivery of 77 of its containers with stranded electricity equipment and materials, which had been lying fallow at the port for over 8 years, bringing to 218 the total number of containers recovered out of the 678 containers stranded at seaports in the country. Receiving the consignment at the Duncan Terminal in Apapa, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, said the equipment would go a long way to improve power supply. Mr. Fashola, who was represented by the former Managing Director of TCN, Dr. Abubakar Atiku, disclosed that the containers were stranded at the seaport. Suspension of issuance of import duty exemption certificate and the attendant demurrage. He commended the efforts of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibaju, the MD of Duncan Maritime Ventures, Dr. Godfrey Bawa Shigurum, port operators and staff of TCN who worked hard to ensure the release of the stranded power materials.
This is meant to settle the outstanding liabilities of both the terminal operators and shipping companies, so that these containers will be released to improve power delivery to every Nigerian. And of course, the Honorable Minister, Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, and of course the entire management of TCN, for their support in actualizing the clearing of the stranded containers.
Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Power, Honorable Daniel Asukwo, commended President Muhammadu Buhari for graciously approving the dispatch of funds for the settlement of outstanding liabilities of both the terminal operators and shipping companies, which facilitated the release of the stranded containers.
For us as a committee, we feel very honored to be part and parcel of what success we are seeing today. We hear today that the Nigerian new management started a process that the foreign management could not execute in 4 years. And in less than 1 year, we're here to release containers. I think that it is a thing that I am personally proud of, because I'm one of those members of the 8th Assembly who have been shouting and saying clearly that we don't need foreigners to manage anything in our country. We have enough competent, experienced hands that when they are given opportunity, they showcase the intelligence and the ability of Nigerians.
CEO Duncan Terminal, Dr. Godfrey Bawa, assured of total commitment to the development of the electricity sector.
Our terminal is part of the historical success of both Lagos State and the federal government policy, a positive change to our national development. As a major and front-runner bonded terminal operator in particular and Nigeria at large will provide off-dock facilities to the authority.
TCN's Executive Director of Finance and Accounts, Mr. Sonny Roche, commended the 6-man committee set up by the TCN management, headed by the General Manager Audit, Mr. Chuks Ochije, who undertook the tough job of negotiating with the customs, terminal operators and shipping agencies to make the release of the containers possible.
TCN is a strong part of the value chain of the power sector. So we take our responsibilities very, very seriously because we believe, honestly, that a chain is as strong as the weakest link. We really had concerted effort at the executive management level to clear all of these containers because some of these containers and all of these containers are they are a vital part of our national grid network as a transmission company of Nigeria.
The released equipment have mostly been moved to project sites for the completion of stalled ongoing priority projects. Some of the projects include the construction of new Abeokuta-Igbora double-circuit transmission line with a tee-off at Igbara-Igongon, construction of 2x60 MVA 132-33 kV substation at Odogunyon, construction of 260 MVA 132-33 kV substation at Ayobo, 132 kV DC transmission line with 2x132 kV lines, base extension at Ikeja West, construction of Benin North Oshobo 33 kV DC line, and the construction of the Kaduna Jos 330 kV DC transmission line, among others. The interim managing director of TCN, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed, has appealed for the support of the Bauchi state government in resolving land-related issues in respect of the proposed transmission substation in the state. Mr. Mohammed made the appeal when he led the management of TCN on a courtesy call on the governor of the state, Mohammed Abdullahi Abubakar.
He noted that the proposed transmission substation will have 2x150 MVA power transformers, which is part of the African Development Bank projects for TCN, assuring that when completed, power supply in the state will improve.
My coming here is to thank you for agreeing to partner with us and also to appreciate you for the speed at which you agree to give the CFO and agree to do the environmental and social impact assessment, which I believe that the state is better placed to do it, especially when it comes to issue of compensation. But I'm happy also to understand that there's no even compensation on that land in Bauchi. And what I'm promising you is that this project will have included in the AFD project, our French Development Agency project. We're going to put 2x150 MVA in Bauchi.
The MD, who was accompanied to the visit by some management staff, expressed the willingness of TCN to collaborate with distribution companies to improve power supply in the country without engaging in a blame game. This, he stated, was part of the agreement reached with them during a meeting in order to avoid unpleasant consequences that may not be favorable to any parties in the power sector. In his remarks, the Bauchi State Governor, Mohammed Abubakar, promised to partner with TCN in its efforts at improving power supply to the state.
I want to outrightly assure you of the presence of the necessary political will to support whatever TCN is doing and will do in Bauchi State. I more than realize the importance of this project to the development of Bauchi State. I know the impediments we suffer due to the lack of adequate, proper power supply. I believe quality power is very, very paramount to the development of my state.
And that's our package on Power Will for now. Please join us next time. Before then, you may send us your comments or questions if you have any. I am Sheung Olagunju. Thank you for watching.